Hello and welcome back to Stop and Go F1 for this, our reactions to F175. My goodness, you know what? That was actually quite good. I was expecting an absolute dumpster fire, but you know what? I enjoyed it. It was very well put together. Nothing really dragged for too long. There were a few things which were questionable. I'm sure we'll get into it. But on the whole, that was a very good event. Has got me very excited for the season to come. We are just over a week away from F1 testing. My goodness, I'm excited. We have some very good liveries on the grid this year. We have some liveries that are exactly the same as last year. And we have at least one which I really don't like. All of that to come in this video here. But let me just say before we get on, remember to like and subscribe. And a huge shout out to the members, Dakota, The Joyous James, Robin Myers, Cinnamon Strudel, and our newest member, Michael Johnson. If you want to become a member, click the link in the description down below. If you become a Mansell Mustache member, you can get access to early access to videos, although Mansell's mustache has been replaced in real life by a Nigel Mansell full beard, which is something to behold. But let's get into F175. And I even got all dressed up for the occasion. I bought this jacket ages ago, and I thought I've got to put this in a video so I can claim it for tax reasons. But this was the perfect reason, I think. F175 deserves a bit of class. You know what was quite interesting though, before the thing even started, about half an hour before the live stream went up on the YouTube channel, there was a countdown with the F1 theme looping again and again and again. Interestingly, no live chat and no live viewer thing. I would say how many people were watching. I wonder if they'll change that now it's done and put it as like a video on their channel. But yeah, very interesting to see. I understand the live chat because YouTube live chats can get out of hand incredibly quickly, and something of that scale would have got out of hand. So I understand why they didn't do that, but the viewer thing, very strange. Machine Gun Kelly opens the show, and he sings a little ditty. That was fun. At one point, though, he did say, "I don't give an F1," which, is a fun little line there, little bit of tongue-in-cheek, but under the new FIA rules on swearing, Machine Gun Kelly has now been disqualified from the 2025 F1 World Championship, so not all that fun now, is it, Mr. Machine Gun? Anyway, we get to the set, get to the O2, and it's set out very well. Big old catwalk down the middle, a lot of fans in. From the stories we heard of lots of fans not being able to get tickets, it did sound like there was a lot of fans there. What it looked like, though, is down the on the floor section, there was your VIPs and also your F1 drivers, legends, team bosses, and it seemed like as well a lot of the seats had actually gone to the crews of the teams. So like your mechanics, people working in factories. There was a bit where I think one of the Aston guys pointed to the Aston team in the crowd. I think McLaren did a similar thing. So maybe the whole thing of F1 fans not being able to get a lot of tickets, I think there still was legitimate F1 fans there for sure, based on some of the reactions we had, and we'll get onto that as well. But I think a lot of the tickets went to the actual teams as well, which is fair, I feel. It is fair. Anyway, moving on, Jack Whitehall is the host for tonight, and he actually does a very good job. I thought he was very good. We move on, though. Let's talk about a bloody livery, because we go in reverse championship order from last year, meaning we start with everyone's favourite team, Stake F1 Team Kick Sauber, who have an army of glow stick drummers. Now, every team got 7 minutes to do whatever they wanted to reveal their livery. And you know what? I really liked it, because every team kind of went in a different direction. You have your teams like Williams, who are going to celebrate all the years they were in Formula 1, and they did a great job at that. Same with McLaren and Ferrari as well. But then you had your teams like your Stake F1 Team Kick Sauber, who, they have the Sauber lineage, but they're not really focusing on that at the minute. So they have glow stick drummers, and it was very good. I think every team did a really good job with the minutes they were given, apart from one, which was Alpine, which we'll get onto later. But anyway, also in this little video package, hype package of Sauber, they say it's not about last season, which is good for them because they were awful. The drivers come out. Bortoletto still has a Senna tribute helmet, which is a great thing for him there, because once he got that Senna tribute helmet in his Formula 2 season last year, that's when he started to win. So maybe that will carry on through to 2025. But for the first time this year, let's have a look at the 2025 livery. Here it is, everybody. This is our Sauber, our Stake F1 Team Kick Sauber car for 2025. And you know what? I like it a lot. It's very similar to last year, but in the major areas they have changed it. Firstly, it's got a fade. All the cool kids have got a fade now, but going from green, fading into the black. The one thing I really did not like about last year's car was what they had on their engine cover, where it was like some big steps, and I never really understood it, didn't like it. That's gone, replaced by this fade, but as they fade to black on the back of the car, even the wheels, the wheel rims there has gone from the green to the black as well, fully black out on the back, apart from the number. This is really good. I like this a lot. It's a good livery from Stake F1 Team Kick Sauber, who hopefully will do all right this year. Got two very good drivers, and hopefully the car will be better. Towards the end of last year, they did get better. I remember the last 2 or 3 races, they were in a much better position. What people forget is actually they started the year very well. They had a very good car at the start of last year, but their issue was their pit stops took 40 seconds, which meant that anything they did on track was entirely useless. But the pit stops got better, the car got worse, then towards the end, the last few races, the car got quite decent again, and they finally scored the points in Qatar. But I think in Abu Dhabi, I think Bottas was even looking quite good in qualifying until it all kind of collapsed for him there. But here we go, this is the car for this year. I think it's a vast improvement on the livery from last year, and yeah, best of luck to them. Let's move on now because, we have got 10 teams to go through. Up next was Williams, and like I said, each team doing something a little bit different with their 7 minutes that they had. Williams, a fantastic video package for them, focusing on the history of the team, narrated by the late, great Frank Williams himself, with a little bit of narration in there from Claire Williams as well, focusing on the likes of your Mansells and your Hills and all the legends of Williams, but also, again, looking forward, and that's what I really liked about this event, because I thought it was going to be very much, here's F1 75, celebrating 75 years of Formula 1, but only focusing on the 2025 season, and that's not what happened. We had lots of focuses on things throughout F1 history, not really like a deep dive into anything, but paying tribute to what had happened, and those teams who have got these huge legacies in Formula 1 celebrated those. I thought it was really well done, starting here with the Williams, and one second, let's pull up the photo here. This is our Williams for 2025, and again, it's got a fade. So far, 2 cars, 2 fades, going from the darker blue to the lighter blue on the back. I think we've got a couple photos of this. Here you go. So you can see the light blue on the back as well. Again, another great livery. The Williams liveries for me have been a bit meh. They're 50-50 over the last couple of years, but this one I really like. I think the race suits as well, the white race suits look really good. But yeah, this I think looks really, really nice. Another fade. The Duracell battery, it's still there. Atlassian is their big, huge sponsor they're bringing in this year, so very vocal on the side of the engine cover there and the rear wing. But yeah, this is a good look for Williams. I talked about them on the Saturday news video where I think that they're not going to really focus on this year, but they'll still have a decent car, and very much the talk of Williams this year will be Albon versus Sainz, which I think Sainz should win single-handedly. But let's move on to the stars of F1 75, the Racing Bulls, because they are the Racing Bulls this year. Last year, I jokingly called them the Racing Bills, and that the joke was revolving around the fact that their livery looked like the Buffalo Bills NFL jersey, and also it was a bit of tongue-in-cheek because Bills also means money, and they'd sold their name to the highest bidder. It was a joke which was multi-layered, and everyone definitely got it. I did not get over 100 comments throughout the season saying, why are you calling them the Racing Bills? They're called the Racing Bulls. Everyone got it. Everyone loved it. And my thought going into this year was, I do hope I get to continue calling them the Racing Bills. I do hope their livery looks like the Buffalo Bills. But it doesn't. They are no longer the Racing Bills. They are now the Racing Bulls. And my goodness, they have the best livery on the grid. Here it is. Oh my God. They had this one under a cloth. They removed the cloth and I thought, oh my God, they've just done that Japanese special Red Bull livery from a couple of years ago that they used at was it the Turkey Grand Prix because they couldn't go to Japan. They've just done that, and I was like, I'm fine with that because that's a great livery. But they haven't just done that. They've gone in their own special little way. A fully white F1 car livery looks incredible with the Red Bull logos on it. And what I really like is towards the back of the car. Have we got a better photo? Here we go. Let's have a look at this one here. So you can see the blue, and it kind of just fades through the balls. Very much like what Mercedes have got with their Mercedes triple star thing on the engine cover. But with the Red Bull logo in blue, this is the best livery of the entire grid. I'm not taking any arguments. If you disagree, keep it to yourself. This is the best one. This is so good. I love it. Last year, they had my favourite livery. This year, they have my favourite livery. The Racing Bills is dead. Long live the Racing Bulls. This is really, really, really good. I have nothing else to say. A 10 out of 10 livery from F175. Then what? Kane Brown sings a song. He's a country and western singer. Country and western music is very big in America. In the UK, it is not. He did not get a great reaction, but, God loves a trier. And speaking of America, Haas was next, and Haas in their 7 minutes very much built their video package around how they are America's team. They are the team from America. They have a base in America. And, next year we'll have another American team in the Cadillac fellas coming across. And I think Haas want to really put the flag down, like, no, we were the first American team. And even Kane Brown, the country and western singer, was in their video package, and he put a hat on. So, he's American, he sings country music. This is America's team, everybody. This is also the 10th season of Haas. And, we did actually see this a couple of days ago, because they've already done their shakedown of the 2025 car at Silverstone. And, of course, when you do a shakedown at Silverstone, everything that you do is going to be leaked because there's a hotel right there with a cafe that anyone can go into and take photos. So some people had already seen it, but the official images, here it is. This is the Haas for 2025. And you know what? It's a good one as well. I like a lot of white on here as well. Very much like the Racing Bulls. Not as fully covered, but still. What I like about the Haas team is they always go for something different, but you can always tell it's Haas. Like, the last few liveries have all basically been this, in, different orders, and different colours in different places, but always kind of staying the same. So Haas here have done it again. A decent livery for them. I like the engine cover, sorry, not the engine cover, the side pods here, the white side pods with the black writing and the red outline around the side. Haas always look good. They've done it again. Congratulations, lads. Great job. We get a video package now celebrating some rivalries. There was the likes of Senna and Prost, of course, Hunt and Lauda, Schumacher and everyone, and Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. Again, doesn't go into massive detail, but these video packages aren't long, so it's nice to have something like that to show we have been here for a long time. There is 75 years of history. What is quite interesting, though, about the whole 75-year thing is, yes, there is 75 years of F1 history, but a lot of the stuff we focus on tends to be 1985 onwards. The furthest back we ever seem to go is Hunt and Lauda. What's that, 1975? So you're still missing 20 years worth of history there, but still. It's good to focus on the bits of history that we do focus on. Let's move on to Alpine, who had a good livery, but the worst launch of anyone. Everyone else has done these great video packages. Racing Bulls had this kind of comedy skit about how no one knows what their name is. Very self-aware, very good. Haas, they were American. Williams, as I said, had that brilliant video package narrated by Frank Williams. Sauber had the glow stick drummers. Alpine had a man with a very bad haircut doing a DJ set of a song that nobody knows. And it lasted... I've always given 7 minutes, but this song lasted 6 hours. It just kept on going forever, and he was very hyped, but no one else cared. And I can't even remember what the name of the song was. It was, I don't know, it was something. Let's say, for example, it was called "It's Gonna Get Better." It was something like that. And then Oliver Oakes was there, and they were interviewing him going, "Oh, Oliver Oakes, what do you think?" And he goes, "Well, like the song says, it's going to get better." And he expected this big laugh from the crowd, but no one from the crowd cared about the song, and no one from the crowd knew what the name of the song was, so it was just dead silent. It was just bad. So the only people who handled their time badly was Alpine. But, and this is a big but, what they lacked in entertainment value, they made up for in liveries. Because, for the first time in a while, Alpine have remembered to paint their car. And here it is. Look at it. It's so good. How many photos of this have we actually got? We've only got the 2. But, you know, when we look back to last year's car, I mean, there's still parts which are unpainted, the top of the side pod, but when you compare it to last year's car, when it was just nothing, just like a completely black carbon fibre car with an outline of blue. And of course, they were doing this thing where some races the car was pink and some races the car was blue, but realistically, you couldn't tell the difference because none of the car was actually painted. This is a huge, huge difference from where they were last year. Of course, they started last year awfully, the worst car in the grid. Came back, they won the Stop and Go F1 award for the best use of upgrades because they went from the worst team on the grid to having that fantastic double podium, getting a good result in the Constructors' Championship. This is a great step in the right direction. Of course, the big thing above Alpine right now is Jack Doohan and Franco Colapinto, and there has been some press today with some of the drivers. I think all the drivers apart from the Ferrari guys have done press conferences today. And of course, Jack Doohan was asked, "Are you going to lose your job, Jack?" And he was like, "Oh, bloody hope not." Fair play to him for handling that question. That is the first of many times he'll have to handle that question because the press will be relentless with this, and he will probably lose his place to Franco Colapinto unless he single-handedly, convincingly beats Pierre Gasly over the course of the first 5-6 races. It seems inevitable that Franco Colapinto is going to be in that seat, and I feel very sorry for Jack Doohan, but he will have a very pretty car to drive whilst he's out there. That's the Haas. This is the Alpine. It looks very nice. Also, this logo here on the engine cover for this team, who I imagine called ENI, ENI, whatever they are. I'm sure that used to be on the front wing of the Ferraris in like the 70s or 80s. So that's cool to see. What's next? Well, that was Alpine done. We get a video package now for F3, F2, and F1 Academy, which is cool. There's a table of some of the guys from F1 Academy there as well. So cool to have that looked at there. Then we get a little thing of like, and some people we had to thank as well, Pirelli, and I was like, oh yeah, Pirelli, they supplied the tyres, and they go, and someone else we had to, another organisation we had to thank for everything in F1 is the FIA, and we get the first boos of the evening because the FIA got booed at F1 75, and rightfully so. All this stuff about the swearing, and they've handed out their first fine to a rally driver who was fined €10,000 the other day for saying a swear word, and there's more on the swearing ban later on. But yes, the FIA rightly booed at this point in proceedings. Up next is Aston Martin, who have a little James Bond theme going on. Of course, Aston Martin and James Bond, hand in hand, the cars used by James Bond in the majority of the films. Not all of them. I think he drives a Lotus in one of them, which is interesting because, you know, Lotus and Renault and, you know, it's different. But anyway, then we see Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso. They abseil down from the ceiling in a video package, then walk out through the crowd. Then an army of violinists arrive to battle the army of glow-stick drummers that Sauber had earlier on. That's a fight I'd like to see. Then a singer comes out called Thames. I'd never heard of Thames before, but Thames had this easily the best musical performance of the night. Fantastic singer from there. And then we get the Aston Martin, which I'm trying to find the photo of it. Here it is. It's the same. Actually, it's not the same. I take that back. I thought it was the same. It's not the same. It's the same green. Sometimes they like to change their green. They've brought back the little neon green little accent thing, which they had a couple of years ago. And what they've actually done is added more carbon fibre. I think they're the only team who's added more carbon fibre this year than they had last year. Every other team has gone in a different direction. Aston, weight saving more than usual. New sponsor, I presume it's pronounced Madden. Madden. So that's nice. But yeah, not a great sign for Aston. A team which we're expecting to not be good anyway. A team which a lot of people are expecting to abandon 2025 before it's even started, including myself, now unveil a livery where they have done the most weight saving they have ever done. A few years ago, when they were on the podium, I was celebrating Aston as one of the two teams, it was them and Red Bull, who did no weight saving. And now they're one of the worst culprits for it. So, Aston, livery's okay, but the signs are not looking good for 2025 if you are an Aston Martin fan. But let's move on. We get a video for the F1 film, which is coming out soon. And then we get Mercedes. And I haven't got a picture of Mercedes. 1 second, let me get a picture of Mercedes. I found one. It's not a great one, but I found one. Mercedes, how did they use their 7 minutes? Not well. A lot of jokes throughout the entire thing from Jack Whitehall about Lewis Hamilton leaving Mercedes and how Toto and how Toto Wolff hasn't handled it well, which I don't think is necessarily true. I think Toto Wolff has handled it actually very well. Kinda. He was initially quite bad, saying that Lewis Hamilton hadn't given him any time to react when he gave him an entire year to react. But since then, I think he's handled it very well, and he's got a good driver in Kimi Antonelli there to... Kimi Antonelli said he's not replacing Lewis Hamilton, but replacing Lewis Hamilton. But then from there, they had a video focusing on their history. Some nice stuff there. Schumacher was shown, Rosberg, Niki Lauda, Lewis, of course. Some good stuff there. Also, but now it's very much their emphasis in this video was like, yeah, we have history, but we're about the future, which is what a lot of teams were. That was the theme for a lot of teams. But it seems very much like Mercedes this year are going to be very much in their, moving on from Lewis Hamilton era. Lewis has been their guy for so long, and they have to move on from that. And I think that they are very aggressively moving on from that, which I think necessarily is the right thing to do. From that video package, though, is when it all starts to go quite a bit wrong, because Mercedes decide that their big thing is they're going to have the first pit stop of the season. So they do a pit stop as the car is coming out, and it's very bad. It's a very bad pit stop. And Mercedes, a team not known for doing good pit stops in the first place, their first pit stop here was very slow. Front right tyre got stuck on, but even without that, it was slow. A bit embarrassing, but there you go. And then the livery, here it is. It's the same. I was looking at it at the time. I think the air duct is a little bit of a different colour. I think it's silver now with a fade. We all love a fade, of course. Other than that, it's exactly the same as last year. Moving on. We get a little talk with Gordon Ramsay. Jack Whitehall asks him what he thinks of the swearing ban in Formula 1. And Gordon Ramsay says how awful it is, then says a swear word and his microphone gets cut off. I don't know if that was planned or not. I'm sure that everything was meticulously planned. And maybe that was there as a bit of a joke. But the F1 swearing ban, a very big joke section throughout all of F1 75. That was a running joke about how stupid that was, and it led to the FIA getting booed, of course. Red Bull are next. Red Bull, Christian Horner stands on stage and gets a lot of boos and was very, very rattled by it. Obviously, after everything that happened last year, people are still not over it, and understandably so. People should not be over it. How is he still in a job? But anyway, he got a lot of boos. Max Verstappen got a few boos as well. When he was first shown, he got a couple boos, but then I think the people who were there who weren't booing him were like, well, no, he doesn't deserve that, and the boos kind of got drowned out by cheering. And then every time he was on screen or mentioned or on stage afterwards, it would be a kind of a mix between the boos and the cheers. More cheers than boos, but still boos. I think Lance Stroll got a few boos as well in terms of drivers who were booed. I think it was Max and Stroll. But yeah, I think, the weird thing about Verstappen getting booed here is, of course, it was in London. And, of course, they loved Lewis Hamilton because, of course, British driver, 7-time world champion, of course, they're going to love him. And people who love Lewis Hamilton tend to not be a big fan of Max Verstappen. But I find as well, living in Britain and being a British man, a lot of the time, especially in Formula One, when there's a driver doing well who isn't British, the British fans don't like him. Vettel was the same. Schumacher was the same. The British fans absolutely hated them, but now love them. That's the thing with the British fans that I find all the time. In 10, 15, 20 years, Max will be treated like a hero in Britain, the same way Seb is now, the same way Schumacher is now. They hate them whilst they're on the top, then once they step away, they go, oh yeah, they were great. It's a weird British thing that they do, but they're not going to change. But there you go. Moving on from that, though, Red Bull are here, and their livery, you're not going to believe this. It's exactly the same as last year's one, too. So here it is. Yeah. Actually, in this photo, it looks a bit more blue than last year's. But when we watched it on the actual live stream, it looks exactly the same. Kind of, it's, they've gone such a dark blue colour now that in some lights it just looks black, and it just looks like a whole black car. The only real big change is the rear wing has a new sponsor on it. It was that Bybit thing, and now it's Gate.io. No idea what Bybit was, no idea what Gate.io is. Probably some crypto rubbish. 1Password, that's new. Don't know what that is either. But there you go. Yeah, that's all the new things on the Red Bull. But you know what? Iconic livery. I don't blame them for not changing it. That's the thing. When you have something that works, keep it. And that's worked for years and will continue to work for many more years. The same way the the McLaren Marlboro thing worked for years, and Ferrari haven't ever really changed their car until now. Let's talk about Ferrari. Oh, do we have to? Oh dear. So, their 7 minutes. They got a lovely little thing, a tribute to Enzo Ferrari, then also kind of showing their cars throughout the year. I would have preferred it if we saw the actual cars, or images of it, or, videos of it. That we had this weird cartoony thing showing them the evolution of the car, but we didn't show the actual car with like all the sponsors and stuff on it. Kind of just like an outline with Ferrari logos on it. They could have done better. But then the actual car came out. And I once said that every Ferrari car is beautiful, and you can't make a bad Ferrari. And this year, they've gone out of their way to prove me wrong. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I hate it. I can't. It's awful. I do not like this car at all. This is so bad. It's not fair. I don't like it. The second year in a row, HP have ruined a Ferrari. Last year, Ferrari started the year with the best livery on the grid. Then they signed a deal with HP, and it's all gone to hell. And you know what? I feel like sometimes they've gone out of their way to personally spite me. Because I always say, I love a Ferrari with a bit of white on it. Red and white Ferrari is beautiful. The Michael Schumacher times of the Ferrari with the red and white, incredible. And they've just gone out of their way to go, you know what, he said all Ferraris are beautiful. You know what, he said all Ferraris red and white are great. Let's just prove him wrong. What the hell is this? Oh, it's so bad. Oh, I hate it. It's not fair. It's not fair that Lewis Hamilton's first Ferrari looks this bad. Oh, it's so bad. The red is a different red. It's a darker red. But who's looking at that when this is here? It's like a weird streak. It's like, like when people have like one streak of hair a different colour. Or like when you're starting to grey a little bit and it's just a little block of your hair goes grey. I wouldn't know. I'm far too young and my hair is its natural colour of whatever colour it's deciding to be today. But, you know, when your hair starts to grey a little bit and you have a little patch of grey, Ferrari have been in F1 so long, their car has a patch of white now because they're so old. This is awful. I hate it so much. And then IBM there, you know what? That's awful too. But this is so bad that no one's paying attention to how bad this is because this is so bad. Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. It's awful. The worst Ferrari livery ever made. And it's not fair because I'm going to have to see this so much. There's going to be so many eyes on Ferrari this year because firstly, I think they're going to do well. Secondly, Hamilton's there, so it's going to be more eyes on than, you know, in the last few years. And it's going to look so bad. Just F1 TV directors, if you're listening, right, just film it from here forwards. From the side, we can use that bit of the front wing to hide this HB here. It'll look quite nice. I haven't got a side view profile, but let me see if I can try and find one. We can just use that, and it'll look quite nice. Here we go, 1 second. I found a picture. Right, here we go. This is how you film it. So, here's the awful Ferrari. F1 TV direction. Here's what you do. So you zoom in, right, if we can. Oh, why isn't... It's broken my computer. Livery, there we go. So we zoom in, right, and then we zoom in a bit more. So that bit's gone. So there, you can see a little bit still there, but the majority of it looks okay. We don't know about the monstrosity going back here. That looks fine. So if you're in F1 TV direction, shoot the Ferrari like this. Don't show anything else. Because the moment you zoom out, you remember that's there. And we don't want that there. Because that's bad. Let's move on, because we only have one team left. And, of course, it is McLaren, who, you know what, they might have used their 7 minutes the best, because McLaren, of course, a team like Ferrari, a team like Williams, have such a long legacy in F1. So many world titles won as well. And they had a really good video package showing all their championship-winning cars competing on the same track. It was an animated thing, of course. It would have been really cool if they did it in real life. But an animated thing, and like, you know, they had the Emerson Fittipaldi car that was overtaken by a Prost, was it a Lauda winning car, then a Prost car, then a Senna, and then Hunter was in there as well. And yes, the cars going through time, overtaking each other, and Mika Hakkinen, Hamilton was there. Then the last two cars are the cars from last year winning the Constructors' World Championship. Really good thing. And then on the stage, they brought out a few of their championship-winning cars. So it was, I think it was Fittipaldi's one, Senna's, Hamilton's, and then 2025's car. And I thought that presentation was really good. And when we talk about the whole thing, about this whole thing of it, 75 years of F1, celebrating the future, celebrating the past, sorry, looking towards the future, they did it really well. At the end of the runway was the Constructors' World Championship that they won last year. Really good presentation from McLaren here. And then they unveiled their new car, and they kind of gave it away before they unveiled it, because I think it was either Zach Brown or Stella was like, yeah, we're keeping our tribute to our championship-winning car, which means it's exactly the same. Yeah, so here's the image that they've released. It is exactly the same, but like with Mercedes... Oh, sorry, I should really say, like with Red Bull, you know, that Red Bull car has won so much. It's an iconic livery. I think you're allowed to keep it for a while. McLaren here have started this new era of McLaren. They're back to winning ways. Constructors' Championships. I don't mind if they keep it the same. The only thing that's a little bit different, mirrors are now blue. So, if that gets you going, bit of blue for the dance. There you go. And then Take That sang some songs. And you know what? I like Take That. I do like Take That a lot. Prefer them when they were a 5-piece. And then I quite like them when they were a 4-piece. Since they become a 3-piece, not as good. Not as good. And don't know what's happened, but they can't sing anymore, which is kind of alarming if you're a singer. But there you go. They sang a song. And then the show ended. All 10 cars on the ramp at the same time. All the drivers there giving us all a bit of a wave. And that was F1 75. Some very good liveries. A very, very good show. I went in with such low expectations. But they did really well. I was really impressed. A very good show. I cannot wait to see what happens in testing next week. Then in 2 or 3 weeks' time, is it now, until Australia? We'll have loads of stuff in between now and then, though, because tomorrow Ferrari have got this big press launch thing that they're going to do. So they didn't do any press conferences today. They'll do all theirs tomorrow, so that's to come. Aston have got a bit of their own personal launch on the 23rd, the Sunday. Then Mercedes have got a shakedown on Monday. Red Bull have got a shakedown on Tuesday. Then it is the start of testing. Coverage of all of that will be here on the channel, so make sure you subscribe for all that. Let me know your favourite, your least favourite liveries. Let me know what you thought of F175. And until next time, have a good one. It's been a long video. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.